Hello, friends. She loved him once, but when money knocked on the door, love was left behind. He cried, he broke, but destiny had a different plan. The noise of metal tools filled the small roadside garage. Heat danced over the dusty ground, and sweat ran down Zabe's forehead. He wiped his face with the back of his hand and smiled. His hands were dirty, his clothes stained with oil, but his heart was clean. People in town knew Zabe as a silent worker. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it was always with kindness. He was not rich, not even close, but he had something special hope. And he had Elishba. She was not rich either, but her eyes sparkled like dreams. She came from a middle class family, always dressed simply, hair tied back, with a soft laugh that stayed in your mind. Every evening, she walked by the garage on her way home from college, and every evening, Zabe's heart waited for her footsteps, like a prayer waiting to be heard. You will hurt your eyes, staring like that, his friend teased. Zabe smiled quietly. She doesn't even know what she means to me. Love between them never had a great start. It was not a proposal under the stars or a surprise at a fancy restaurant. It started with a pen. One day, her pen broke just outside the garage. Zabe noticed and offered his. You can keep it, he said, looking away. Thank you, she replied softly. The next day, she brought him a new pen in return, and so it began. After that came short talks, then smiles, then longer talks under the old tree across the street. Slowly, silently, they built something beautiful. One day, Zabe said, I'll open my own workshop, not just a garage, a real one with lights, office, staff. And I'll be your first customer, Alishba giggled. He looked at her and said, No, you will be much more than that. She blushed. Alishba's cousin was getting married in the city. For 2 weeks, she was gone. Her dreams had grown bigger. She saw girls wearing designer dresses, big houses with glass doors, women sitting in air conditioned rooms, sipping juices, while servants stood by, and suddenly her world looked small. Zabe noticed it. She started showing up less. Her messages grew short. Her voice lost its shine. One evening she waited under the tree. She didn't come. The next day, she called Zabe. I want to talk. They met at the usual place, but nothing felt usual. There's a man, she said. His name is Saad. He's rich. His family wants to send a proposal. Zabe's lips went dry. And what do you want? Zabe, I don't want to struggle all my life. I want comfort, security. He stared at her for a long time, then finally spoke. And love? Doesn't that count? Love doesn't pay bills. She walked away, and with every step she took, Zabe felt his heart tear. Zabe didn't cry in front of anyone, but every night he lay in his small room, staring at the ceiling, hearing her last words again and again. Love doesn't pay bills. He didn't blame her. Maybe she was right. Maybe dreams and oil stained shirts were not enough. But one morning, while looking in the mirror, he said to himself, She left because I had nothing. Now I'll make something, not for her, for me. That day, Zabe walked back to the garage with fire in his heart. Zabe started waking up before sunrise. He cleaned the garage, repaired bikes, changed tires, and saved every single rupee. He worked with hands full of grease but a heart full of purpose. In 6 months, he bought better tools. In 1 year, he rented a second hand car to learn more. In 2 years, he opened his own small workshop on the highway. People started coming. His honesty pulled them in like a magnet. This boy works like a machine, one customer said, and speaks like a saint, said another Zabe. Zabe didn't smile much. He was polite, but quiet. Only his eyes showed a little fire. Deep down, her memory was still there, still sharp. Alishba was now married to Saad. At first, life felt like a dream. Expensive clothes, weekend trips, a big house with shiny tiles. She posted photos with filters, showing the world her new life. But inside, something was missing. Saad was not kind. He talked with pride and listened with anger. He never laughed at her jokes. He gave her gold, but not time. I married a man, not a wallet, she once whispered to herself. Soon, Saad started coming home late. One day drunk, one day angry, one day not at all. Her heart began to ache. I left someone who gave me love and chose someone who gave me loneliness. One night, after an argument, Saad threw a glass at the wall. It broke. Alishba sat in a corner, crying silently. Her phone buzzed. An old memory showed up on Facebook. A picture of her and Zabe under the tree years ago. She stared at it for a long time. Where are you, Zabe? She whispered. But she didn't message him. She had no courage. Zabe now had a showroom, Zabe Auto World. The small town boy had become a respected businessman. He wore clean shirts, drove his own car, and helped poor students fix their bikes for free. One day, his old school invited him to speak as a guest of honor. He accepted. That day, Alishba was also present. Her younger cousin studied in that school, and she came for the event. She had no idea Zabe would be there. When she saw him on stage, confident, calm, and kind, her eyes filled with tears. He was glowing, successful, strong, and he was no longer waiting for her. After the event, she stood near her car, nervous. He walked by with a bouquet in hand. Zabe, she said softly. He stopped. They looked at each other for the first time in years. Hello, Elishpa, he said kindly, but not emotionally. You look different, she said. Time changes people, he replied. Silence hung between them like heavy clouds. Can we talk sometime? She asked. We just did. He smiled and walked away. That night, Alishba sat alone. Her husband was away again. She opened her diary and wrote, I thought love was not enough, but love was everything. She tried to message Zape many times, wrote full paragraphs, then deleted them. She didn't want to break his peace again. Zabe, on the other hand, stood on his balcony, holding the old pen she once returned to him. He smiled, not with pain, but with peace. Destiny had a better plan for me, he whispered. One day, Zabe saw Alishba at the hospital. She was sitting alone, with tired eyes. Her mother was sick. He walked to her and gave her a water bottle. Thank you, she said. Life is heavy sometimes, he replied. I never stopped thinking about you, she said. But I stopped waiting for you, he replied gently. She looked down. I hope you find someone who doesn't leave, she said. And I hope you learn that love is never small, he replied. He walked away again. This time she didn't cry. She just watched him fade into the crowd. Zabe married a schoolteacher named Iman. She was simple, kind, and laughed from the heart. They had two kids and a peaceful life. Alishba moved to another city. She worked at a women's help center. She smiled again, but never the way she used to with Zabe. They never spoke again, but in their hearts they both knew destiny doesn't always give what we want, but it always gives what we need. If you were in Zabe's place, would you forgive Alishba or walk away like he did?